Hey folks, it's Lindsey Huddleston with SPS back in the building over at Stockbridge High School, home of the Panthers. Got to see these guys just a couple of days ago at the Moneyball Tip-Off Classic. I'm here with Coach Jacob Robidou, and like I told you, players, man, that was my high school team. You guys beat up on me, man. Detroit Henry Ford, you know. So Shannon remembered that, and I said I forgot for a second who you. He said we beat Henry Ford, your team. So he was happy to say that. But Coach, thank you for allowing me to come spend time in practice, see you, see the guys, get to meet these awesome seniors, and talk to some of your players. But how's things going for you?
It's going good. It's going really well. It was a really fast start. We played 6 games in 13 days to start the season. So, and we're an independent this year, so we're not in a conference. That's a really unique situation, but it's allowed us to schedule really creatively, and I think I'm really happy with the schedule. We kind of wanted a tough schedule up front to really find our strengths and our weaknesses, and with not having a conference affiliation, there's every game's just about getting better.
Yeah, so you like the Notre Dame of basketball, huh?
I guess so. But I mean, whether we win or lose, it's all about learning and learning, what our best team is going to look like in March.
Well, you're definitely turning heads. I mean, we know that we're very early in the season, but a great win against a state championship team in Henry Ford. That's a state championship program. On the Onstead win, I overheard you guys saying how people were surprised, but when I talked to some of your players, I can hear the confidence in them saying, "Hey, we talked about this for a while. What does it mean to have a group of seniors that are kind of culminating their last time together?" And I'll even say it. Some even say, "Hey, we want to win this for Coach."
Yeah, well, that's really special to me. I've had 3 of those seniors since they were sophomores. So it's those are my captains. But that class has come through. It's a great group. It's a special group, and we're really blessed here in Stockbridge to have 2 classes that were that talented be right next to each other.
Wow.
With the smaller school, that kind of sometimes comes and goes, but that's what really makes them special. It's not just the seniors, but it's the combination now and the blending of that group of juniors who last year on any other team would have been varsity players. As sophomores went 20-0 on JV, so it's really the first time we've gotten a chance to blend them.
Yeah.
And they're just great. I mean, it's a great group.
I talked to your athletic director, Ernie Rivers. We had a great conversation. Is it Papa Beard, the bearded Papa? That's what he goes by on his social media. But he just gave me a little bit more insight, me being a native Detroiter in East Lansing, about the isolation of this community where everyone has been connected for a while, and that we're probably more closer to Jackson than Lansing. So it just talk about the this community, the fingerprint, the fiber. So if someone's like, "Where's Stockbridge? Tell me more about Stockbridge," how would you kind of define the community a little bit?
I might not be the best person to talk, so I'd be careful. I've only been here for 6 years. I moved in from Montana, believe it or not, which is a little different than everywhere.
Coach, I didn't know you were coming out of Montana. Maybe you told me that years ago. I didn't lock that in.
Yeah, it's so
how would you experience the community?
Yeah, that's I think a fair question. So some of my perceptions is it is isolated. It's kind of it's very central, but it's kind of just far enough away from everything to have that isolated feel to some extent. Some people like that. Some people like
and I want to put the caveat on it. I'm not saying isolated in a negative way, but it's just a kind of description of what's going on.
No, absolutely.
Is that like Montana?
No, actually, it's actually very different. It's hard to explain. It's there's the population density is so much higher. Like if this town's footprint would maybe have 80 people in the high school in Montana because there's just nothing surrounding it.
Sure.
It's just different. This would be a fairly big high school in Montana.
Wow.
But my perception was when I first took the job, they came off of a pretty poor season. They had won 3 or 4 games, but had a group of talented kids coming, and we won 15 the next year. That was when we met Chris Hall and that group of kids. And I think the biggest challenge was just changing culture, which is a cliche everybody says.
Right.
But more of what I think that means is the expectations of themselves. And I don't think everybody feels this way, but there's maybe this some sense of we'll hear it from other teams sometimes. Like, you can't get beat by Stockbridge. It's like it's been a while since we've had successful programs in the past. There's a ton of pride back in those late 70s. So we're trying to just change that mentality.
Right.
And I think these kids have it. This is a group that they're used to winning. They expect to win. They're willing to do the work to win. So
that helps a lot. You mentioned culture. You got Coach Derek Bowles on staff here. Talk about what role he plays. What's going on here?
I think the biggest thing, I want to do anything I could to maximize our success this year with this group. Because it's just that's at the end of the day, that's my job. I think where I've always struggled to keep up with is that those intangible pieces that are so important, like the energy on the bench, the energy in practice, and it's a lot to do with the guys that aren't involved with the exact drill. Are they engaged? Are they supporting each other? And so so I really wanted to tackle that this year, and I brought Derek in for that exact reason, and it's been excellent.
That's great.
It's really been great to see him in his element.
And I can appreciate, just putting my sports psychology hat on, seeing you guys dynamic. I see you heavy on your player development and getting them on the court, going through the drills, but deferring to him when he has his time going in. I think that helps out a lot. So that's just my observation as an outsider, man, and doing great. What about you? Anybody you want to give some special shout-outs to or anything like that?
Well, I just want to appreciate, the parents of these kids, that have really brought them, kept this group together since they were young, and I think that sometimes people take for granted. Like, that's a lot of traveling and supporting, and a lot of times in bleachers, keeping these kids interested in playing ball together. So I think that's an important shout-out. My staff, Ryan Johnson's my JV coach. He's been here for, with me since the beginning, and that's huge to me. And of course, my wife and my family.
Yeah.
My wife probably takes the biggest sacrifice of all.
And I'll give you some great advice, Coach. You're doing good. You're giving her roses at the beginning of the season. A lot of guys wait to the end.
It's not her first rodeo, so yeah, it's but no, I can't take that for granted. She's putting my boys to bed right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, Coach, I've enjoyed getting to know you over the years, and I'm going to keep an eye on you guys. I'm going to try to follow your schedules, top in on some of your games, and keep giving you support. But I want to wish you the best, and thanks again for welcoming me in.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming down and seeing our guys.
As always, with that being said, this is Lindsey House on SPS, and we'll see you next time. Peace.